Jesus says we're supposed to have compassion on these people. In Mark, I don't want to knock anything down. Mark 6, there's a story that Mark tells of something that Jesus did. And it goes like this. It's Mark 6:30 through 44. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going, they did not even have a chance to eat. He said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began to teaching them many things. By this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. "This is a remote place," they said, "and it's already very late. Send the people away so that they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered, "You give them something to eat." They said to him, "That would take 8 months of a man's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat? How many loaves do you have?" He asked. "Go and see." When they found out, they said, 5 loaves and 2 fish. Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and he broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to set before the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of the men who had eaten was 5,000. And if the number of men that were eaten was 5,000, then there was many more women and children as well. So he fed all those people, those thousands of people, with those 5 loaves and 2 fish, which I think is amazing. You know, God is just so awesome. He can do anything. But he showed compassion on those people by giving this miracle so that they could eat, okay? And he also said that they were like sheep without a shepherd. They came running to get what he had. They wanted to see what he had. They needed it. They needed to have their shepherd so that the shepherd could take care of them and teach them in the way to be and the way to grow. And that's what Jesus does for us. And so we need to show compassion on other people and teach them as well on the way of Jesus, okay? And today we have a special guest with us that I want to introduce to you. He actually is a compassion child. He is a child who has been sponsored. He lives in Ecuador. He's not living there now, though, right? You are living there now, okay. And he is with us today, and he's going to speak a little bit about how his experience was growing up as a compassion child and what his life was like. So come on up. Let's welcome Dario.
Good morning. I was told you have very good Spanish, so I'm going to say in Spanish.
We're going to talk in Spanish.
It wasn't supposed to be a joke. I'm serious.
Can you interpret Spanish?
Good morning. How are ya? I woke up this morning. It was very cold. I don't know how you folks live here. Anyhow, I want to tell you my story, what it was like to grow up in the jungles of Ecuador, and what happened next after that when I once entered the Compassion Project, and what was the result of that, and then what I'm doing right now. So Ecuador, to give an idea, Ecuador is the size of Colorado. It's a beautiful country. I grew up in the jungle where it's very hot and humid. Very different here, all year long. We had a room. That's our house, the size of one room. It was made out of plywood, tin roof. It had quite a few holes. Every time it rained, it will rain a lot during the year, and we'll get wet. We will get cold at night, and because of that, we'll get sick. I don't remember going to a doctor ever when I was a child. We just had to tough it up. In the room, there was a refrigerator, believe it or not, in the corner of a house, and I just denied looking at it. I didn't want to open it Because previously, when I had done that, opening it, I was laid down and discouraged and sad and mad, all these emotions, because I could not find food in it. I didn't find the milk you found this morning when you opened the refrigerator, or eggs, or meat, or fruits or vegetables. None of that. My dad, he was an abusive father. I didn't know this term existed when I didn't know it existed, but I used to call him in my head, he's an alcoholic, because he drank alcohol and that turned him into a wild man. He would beat my mom up. I remember one night I was sleeping, and even though it was raining hard and windy, I hear my mom crying for help, and I just went to see where she was, and I still had the picture of my dad beating on her, pounding her. And I said, Dad, stop it. I tried to help Mom, and he just flung his hand and says, go back to bed. That hurt so much that my father wouldn't provide for us. My mom had to work 2-3 different jobs. I would never say in the morning, she'd come home at 10, 11 at night. I was about 7 about this time my dad left. And I was wanting to go to school. There were other kids in our neighborhood, better conditions than us. And I was like, I said, where are you guys going? I said, going to school. But you cannot go because you don't have uniform. You don't have what's needed to go to school. So I was put to shame, embarrassed by them. My dad left when I was about 7.5 years old. Do you know what my mom told me the day after he left? Hon, you need to go find a job. How many of you are 7.5 years old or know someone who's 7.5 years old? Imagine putting my shoes. Your mom tells you or dad, you need to go find a job at a sawmill. You need to find a job picking up rocks for our construction work. You need to find a job going to sell newspaper. Those were the jobs I did. You know what? At night, I would not be able to sleep, thinking of what's going to happen next. Am I going to be doing this my whole life? Not able to go to school, no opportunities, just hopelessness. I'm not saying that job is bad, don't get me wrong, but a child should not be laboring to provide for family. He should be provided for, cared for, loved. I'm speaking on behalf of thousands of children around the world who are going through the same situation right now. I cry many times, like I don't even know why I'm crying. I don't have any dreams, nothing. This is what poverty tells you. Poverty tells you you are nobody. Poverty tells you there's nobody that can fight for you. That's it. It's like living in a dark place and nothing ever good happens. These are not tears to move your heart to have pity on me. This is my third time I'm sharing this testimony in different churches. And it's a vivid. That poverty lies to people, to children, that they don't matter to anybody. And that's why you will see a lot of kids who grow up are not loved or cared for. They grow up in the streets. Girls turn into prostitutes. Boys turn into bandits or delinquents. Because they were not shown the love when they're early on. Jesus says, love the children. Let them come to me. What a beautiful, I have a 4-year-old daughter. Man, I want to be the best father she will ever have. That and my actions, everything I do, I say, I think, reflect God. That's my heart desire, and I'm sure you have the same thing for your kids. For a year, my mom and sisters, we pray around the one bed we had, and I said, God, if you exist, I didn't know anything about God. I just go to church because my mom would take me to church. If you exist, if you say that you spoke everything into existence, you must be dang powerful. Dang, help us. Kids see that black or white. They're very concrete. If you tell them you love them, then show them. Don't just say it. That's why we like gifts as little kids. We like hugs, physical touch. So I want to see that. I want to have food in my tummy, clothes. I want an education. None of them I lacked. Those are a lot of the things that people in this country take for granted. It makes me mad. We have to go through a hard time sometimes in order to appreciate what we have, don't we? For a year we prayed, and I became hopeful. Man, prayer. God knew what was going on in my heart and my family. He was not unaware of what's going on. My sister and I were invited to church that morning, a year later, and the pastor was talking and said, "You have been chosen to become part of this program." And I was like, I had been chosen. I never been chosen. No one has called out my name before. It says people in the United States, a couple from California, they are going to become your friends. I never had a friend growing up, except my sisters. But I was scared because they say you will have to write to them. And I was like, I'm almost 8 years old. I don't know how to write. I don't know how to read. How am I supposed to read their letters? Someone would read to me. I remember the first letter I got was from them, and it said the opposite of the lies I was believing growing up. They said, "Dario, you are beautiful. You are precious." They told me, "You matter to God. He knows what you're going through. Man, we're praying for you." Those were hopeful words, truth spoken into my life. It was amazing. When I was actually 6-7 months later after that, I came to know a different kind of love between a father and a son. My dad was not God, and God was not my dad, my earthly father, I mean. God keeps his promises. My dad doesn't. God is perfect. My dad is not. God is loving. My dad was not. I was adopted into his family. I became what we call it, a believer, a follower of Jesus Christ. So I was born again. I became his son. He became my Abba. He became my father. That really spoke volumes to me, because I came to understand that poverty does not have a hold on me anymore. Poverty does not define me, but God defines who I am. I remember the first time I got my uniform. Memory has it's so powerful. It can remember smells, good smells and bad smells sometimes. Mine is good. I still remember the new books I was given for the first time. I remember I had new shoes, black shoes, blue uniform, a backpack. My backpack was a blue leather backpack, and it had a picture of Spider-Man. I feel like I'm a superhero. I walked into school literally flying the doors open because the teacher couldn't turn me back. In South America, Central America, if you don't have the books required for school, you're kicked out. You're sent back home. But that day, no sir. I have my uniform, my books, and I'm going to study. And I was diligent. I was thankful. I was given wings to fly. I could dream. Education gives people a responsibility and power. Imagine a mother who has 5 kids, has an income of $150 a month, works 2 different jobs, works from 7 to 11, 7 to 10 sometimes p.m. A child gets sick, and she has to pay $70 for medicine. She has how much? 25 left. And she still has to provide for all their basic needs that you parents do to your kids. Man, we were hungry for days. But in spite of that, I knew God's going to take care of us. Compassion International, the church, they work together to provide for my sister and I, for my family. I cannot tell you the change that caused in my life at an early age. For me, was not getting out of poverty physically, economically, emotionally. It was spiritually. And all the rest came as perks. I know where I'm going. I know who holds the future. God is good. I'm married. I have a 4-year-old daughter. My wife's from New Jersey. And yeah, she would think it's not funny. We're going to be working in South America as messengers of the gospel. People call missionaries. We're going to be planting church among an indigenous people group in Paraguay. And this didn't happen overnight. God was working in our hearts differently for a long time. And I close my eyes and see children in this tribe in Paraguay who are my age when I was a kid. And they have the wrong idea who God is. They have no hope for the future. We want to share that with them in their heart language. By you sponsoring a child today, you will be sponsoring a future missionary. Imagine here 10, 15, 20 years from now, the child you will correspond with, you will write letters to, you will pray for, will become the next president of their country, mechanic, farmer, nurse, librarian, anything. Not just with a profession, but with a person who has been changed and who can be a world changer as well. I'm Dario Guerrero, and this pays off. Thank you.
So you see how much your sponsorship is really helping children. His story is amazing to me. You know, when he's 7 years old, he has to go to work. 7 years old? I mean, that's crazy. How old are you? No, behind you. 7? You're 7? Can you stand up? Do you mind? This is a 7-year-old. Turn around, show everybody. Okay? That's what he had. That's how old he was when he went to work, and he had to eat. And I saw a lot of kids in Haiti the same, you know, and they're all over the world. I mean, we live in an abundant place. We live in a place where we have a lot, and we don't realize what we have. We really don't.